I'm Katie Luxton and I'm mum to 2 girls, Seren and Carys, and originally from Gloucestershire in mid-Wales. I've become a much more frequent blood donor. Now I know how valuable it is because of my daughter being so poorly. Carys is my second child and she was 2 years old and everything was absolutely perfect. Really happy family. And we just potty trained her and she potty trained so easily at 2 years old. We started to find she wanted to go to the toilet all the time and she started to cry when she was going to the toilet. She was needing the toilet every 10 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes, and she was passing large amounts of blood and she was in clear pain. Finally we got a diagnosis. We soon discovered it was a very large tumour called a rhabdomyosarcoma. It's a very, very aggressive cancer that grows incredibly quickly, and she was only 2 and it was about the size of an apple, they said. Even though this is an extremely rare cancer, I think they said maybe 30, 40 children in the whole of Europe will present with this cancer every year. We had one of the UK experts was based here in Cardiff. We didn't leave the hospital from the day we were diagnosed for about 4 months, and she was having chemotherapy and it was in 3 weekly cycles, and the chemo knocked her out totally at the beginning, and she was very sick and she lost her hair and all of those things that happen with chemotherapy. But that also impacts on the blood, so she would need red blood cell transfusions pretty much every 3 weeks, and then she also needed platelets. But she was always great actually. The red blood cells, we kind of dreaded them because we got used to her being quite, calm, and as soon as she had a red blood cell transfusion, she would be like a loony for about 10 hours. She'd bomb around, we'd never get her to sleep. So if they said, oh, you're not coming in for your transfusion until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd be thinking, oh no, that's the whole night's sleep gone, because she'd be wide awake. Somehow it just gave her so much energy. It was obviously very, very tough. We did carry on a surprisingly normal life for our older daughter, and we made the decision very early on that we had to be very positive and not let their children see how worried we were about anything. Quite a lot of people would say to us, God, I don't know how you're coping, but you just do. And I don't think we did any different from any of the other families on the ward. We had good days and bad days, and you do just cope, especially if it's your child. You'd do anything for them, wouldn't you? I thought I couldn't make her better. I had to rely on other people. I thought my job was to keep her mentally entertained and feeling positive, because I didn't want her giving up on life. And I think what's kept us going is that we have all laughed. And in fact, even though it was probably one of the hardest years of my life, there was a lot of crying, there was probably more laughing, and we learned to live in the moment. And the kids really kind of taught us how to do that. Carys is a bit of a joker. She's got a great sense of humour. She is always running around and chatting and laughing, and she's got a great sense of humour. When she had no hair, somebody asked her about, why have you got no hair? And she said, oh, it's good to have no hair, I can't get nits, So she had lots of good ways that she just invented of how to deal with it, and that kept us laughing. We've just heard now she's still in remission. She's having checks very regularly, so that's a great weight off her mind. And compared to where we were, which was very bleak odds at one stage, I can't believe we are where we are. And there are so many people and so many things that I owe her life to, but blood is definitely up there, because that is so critical for particularly children having chemotherapy, because they are battered by it, absolutely battered by it, and the blood lifts them back up again and gives them a chance to withstand another round of chemo in a few weeks' time. So I'm very grateful to all the blood donors. I can't think of anything particularly eloquent to say, really, other than just enormous thanks. You're often giving blood in a gymnasium or a community hall, and you don't think about the lives you're saving. And I've got a live little person playing on the floor over there who is alive because people have contributed in this way. I think what stops most people is that they don't even think about it. I think if they hear these type of stories, it's quite motivating. I think it's worth giving it a go. I know lots of people are frightened of needles, but it is nothing. And I've seen how brave Carys has had to be with all those needles and Hickman lines that go straight into your body, and you have to walk around with all these tubes sticking out of you all the time. If she can do that, I can give the odd pipe and blood. I really encourage people to do it, because we've got some really brave children out there, and they put up with 20 times the needles and tubes that I've had to do in giving blood. So just a huge and heartfelt thank you.